Yo, yo. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Welcome to another trade recap. I am up $4,500 on the day. Want to run you guys through basically my bias going into the day, why I took this trade. I've been sick with COVID for the last like 5 days, so I honestly have kind of been in the Debbie Downs slumps the previous couple days going into the week. So today is kind of like the day where I'm finally back on track. I didn't even plan on trading today, but after the first 20 minutes, I saw the setup and decided to take it because it was pretty much everything that I wanted to see. So basically want to run you guys through bias going into the day, kind of what has happened so far for this week to have a bullish bias going into the day. So let's just kind of jump in. On the daily is really the main thing that we need to focus on when it comes to figuring out the bias for the day. So when we look at the bigger time frame and we can kind of analyze where we are in price action right now, the start of the week was a lot of the is just really skeptical because we're basically bouncing between two inefficiencies. So when we're on a bigger time frame and we're balancing between two inefficiencies where we have a daily bearish fair value gap and we have a daily bullish fair value gap, I really want to let price action kind of tell me what we want to do when it comes to where the draw on liquidity is internally. So zooming into the 1 hour, we look at Monday. Monday ends up opening. We have a move higher and we end up selling all the way back off. We take this internal low. And then Monday or Tuesday, we had a kind of slow price action, slow, choppy. And then we finally end up breaking to the upside. So we have our 1 hour change in the state. So basically, we have internal sell side. Again, we're displacing out of the daily fair value gap. And we've been generating this buy side liquidity as well. So once we on Tuesday get above this change in the state, on Friday or on Wednesday, all I care about is if there's still liquidity resting above, right? So on this move on Tuesday for the rest of the day going into Wednesday AM, we end up leaving this external high intact. So I'm wanting to see this become buy side of the curve, right? When we look at a market maker model, we have sell side of the curve and then we have buy side of the curve. So we've had sell side of the curve where we're generating liquidity, right? Buy side gets put in, buy side gets put in. We come all the way down to rebalance to the daily inefficiency. This is where I want to see, okay, is price holding this? Are we going to get bought up out of this? Because I wasn't necessarily sure if we wanted to run through to the downside or we want to hold bullish. So I'm waiting for kind of price action to give me that bigger time frame bias for the week. Once Wednesday or Tuesday ends up breaking through this, this is kind of setting up my bias going into Wednesday. So I want to be bearish on Wednesday morning and be bullish on the overall day based off where we are because I want to see us rebalance back to equilibrium. So what ends up happening on Wednesday? So Wednesday pre-market, what we end up doing is we're basically generating all of this buy side liquidity, right? All of these highs that are getting put in. We have a high here, all of these internal highs. And this is kind of where my eyes are starting to seek when I start to wake up is I'm looking for this to become kind of my main area in which I want to see price draw to. So going into open, the market sells off. Now, why are we selling off and why do I want to see us sell off? Well, I want to see us rebalance, number one, back to equilibrium of the range. So if we look at the entire range from the low of the week to the high, in a market maker model, if we're looking at this, I'm expecting price to most likely rebalance back to the change in the state and back to equilibrium. So equilibrium of the range rests a little bit below the change. And again, zooming back out to the 1 hour, the series of down close candles that we initially broke through on the 1 hour is resting here. So we have two down close candles that gets broken above on Tuesday. I want to see this act as support and same thing as equilibrium. And then again, move lower to go to the opposing draw. The main thing that we always say, for the market to move higher, we must move lower. So if I'm bullish, I want to see the market rebalance back to equilibrium first and then break towards the upside. So going into the morning, market opens, we have a move lower, and from here is when I get my setup. So we're now at my area of which I wanted to see price reject, right? We're now back at equilibrium of the range. We know that the draw on liquidity is lower, and look at all of this generated buy side liquidity, right? So when I'm trying to form a bias, I'm asking myself, where is the market going to draw to? If the market is dumping at open, is there a reason for price to really go lower? Sure, we have like lows down here, but on the bigger time frame, we've already broken structure to the upside. So if we've already broken structure to the upside, I'm expecting this move to be a rebalance, right? And then to continue back higher. Now, another thing that's adding conviction for this is I want to look at what Asia session is. So I look at where Asia session is, and Asia session is all the way back up here, meaning We are very, very far away from midnight open. So this is one thing that I highly recommend that you guys use for adding conviction to a bias is every single day I am looking at Asia session and I'm looking at midnight open. If we are way below midnight open and it's adding to my confluence, which is I'm expecting price to go higher, this is giving me even more confluence where I want to see the market go back to midnight open. Now, this is an indicator that I use called ICT Everything, and I basically use it every single day when I come into the market to see kind of where we are from Asia. These lines that are being drawn are standard deviations from Asia session. So there are areas in which I want to see price reject to then rebalance back to midnight open from Asia session. So if you guys want to use this, I'll kind of put the settings on the chart. You can kind of copy my settings. I think pretty much the only things that I have changed is the SD count turned to 4. Midnight open is a dotted line that I have checked, but you can kind of pause and kind of look through these settings if you want. But this is like a cheat code. I highly, highly recommend using Asia session to add confluence and see kind of where we are with Asia session, how far are we displaced out of it, because midnight open is a really big confluence if that's in the favor of where I want to see the draw be. So now that we're in my area of which I want to see price reject, right? In a market maker model, it's super, super clean. This is a super, super clean market maker model where we have a very, very clear defined sell side and buy side of the curve, where sell side of the curve, we're rebalancing to the daily inefficiency while we're generating buy side. We get a break of structure to the upside on the 1 hour, big displacement. We leave the high intact and then we pull back to equilibrium. And then this is when I'm expecting a continuation towards buy side liquidity. So we're in my point of interest, change in the state and equilibrium. What am I waiting for? I'm waiting for a change in the state of delivery and manipulation. So on the 1 minute, price comes down, rebalance back higher, one last move lower. So this is my internal manipulation where we have that one last move lower, and then we end up having our change in the state, which is my break of structure, right? So my last series of down close candles gets closed below or above, sorry. This becomes my change in the state, and there's a fair value gap here. So this is my entry model, right? So I'm basically in an area in which I want to see price reverse. For me, and when I want to see the market go higher, market opens, we go lower. That's exactly what I want to see because I want to see everybody chase shorts, right? The market works in I like to think of it as like the market works in divine order. Price action is perfect. So when you mess up and when you have a bias and it doesn't go that way, you were wrong. There is no in between. So I like to think of the market to say, if the market is trying to cause max pain, which is traders are trying to get faked out and stopped, what is the best way for price to do that? Well, the price for price to do that is we sell off, at morning and show bearish order flow to then try to flip to continue bearish to try to get as many shorts as possible. So this is my reversal sign in which I'm looking for, which is we're in the change in the state. My bigger time frame is bullish. We're at equilibrium, so there's no really reason for price to go lower. We've already done our job on the bigger time frame because the draw on liquidity on the bigger time frame is higher. So we get a change in the state, we get a fair value gap. This is where I enter long. So I enter long and I put my stop at consequent encroachment, or not consequent encroachment, equilibrium, which is where we were initially rejecting from. Now my price target for this was all the way back to Asia highs. Now I ended up taking this off early though because ES ended up taking beforehand, and we had a bearish SMT. Now I still expect this to most likely go to Asia just because I believe the weekly draw is bullish and we'll probably end up breaking through it. But I end up entering this. We get really, really nice, strong order flow to the upside. As soon as we get to here, when we look at where ES is, ES ends up taking this high. So we had a bearish SMT, and this is when I just decided to take it off. So ended up basically closing this trade, pretty much the only trade. And you can see literally right when I closed it, price action just starts to shit the bed and basically consolidate. Now, why does price consolidate after this? Because ES has already taken the draw. So now we have a bigger time frame bearish SMT. Now, I don't expect this SMT to dump price. I would want this SMT to break to the upside because if an SMT is not in favor of the draw, then a lot of the times it's just going to cause price to rebalance. So if all of this generated buy side is resting above and we're very, very bullish on the bigger time frame, this SMT will probably just, again, do what it's doing right now, which is it'll slow price down. We'll have a little bit of a rebalance, right? We're kind of taking these internal lows right now, and then I would want to see a continuation. But once that SMT got put in play, basically just took it off. I'll put the executions on the chart so you guys can see. But overall, I'm very, very happy with the day. I didn't expect to take a trade today, so I'm happy that I'm able to get it. I'm just ready to get back home. I have been stuck in an Airbnb with COVID for the last 5 days. I have so much content that I have planned, but like as soon as I got back from Serbia, I've been in Europe for the past like couple weeks. I got COVID, which fucking sucks. So I'm gonna get my stuff in a U-Haul because my setup that I had when I was in Scottsdale is in a storage unit. Pack it all in a U-Haul, get to Idaho, have my setup there so I can really start getting back into fucking the grind mode with trading and everything that I'm doing. But let me know what you guys also want to see from me because I'm gonna have my full setup. There's a lot of stuff that we're working on, a lot of content that I want to make. What do you guys want to see more from me when it comes to trading content? Do you want to see more trade recaps? Do you want to see more in-depth breakdowns of specific things? I have a vlog that's coming out soon from Serbia. I have a CRT video that's coming out really soon as well. That's currently being edited. So let me know what you guys want to see. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this trade recap. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.